Michael Cooper, Sinn Féin Councillor, Derry City Council.
Tell me your role with ERNACT.
I'm a board member of ERNACT, have been for the last year, replaced Jerry McLaughlin, who was on the board for a number of years. My background, as well as being a tour guide, my academic background would be mainly history, but also I would have a postgraduate degree in computing from the University of Ulster here at Magee. So it proved a natural sort of fit for a lot of my background in that sense. But in terms of work I do in the community sector, as another sort of role that I would have locally, the one thing I've identified very quickly is a lack of capacity within the community sector around a lot of the opportunities with the digital economy here, never mind creative, but across the board. And that's purely because of my sort of studies from many years ago. So it means that I'm now trying to develop that capacity by creating a linkage between what ERNACT's doing, what Council's doing, and the creative industries here in the city, like the Nerve Centre and others. So one of the events we're planning next couple of weeks is actually an engagement between the community sector and those people, so that they'll know where to go for funding, they'll know what training they should be offering to their own local population as a start-up to get those people in, and the higher and further education. So there's a natural fit between everything that's offered in that sense. Social economy projects or private projects in terms of business start-up, that they're making use of the facilities that they now have. Because the City of Culture, there's a lot of venues in the town, including the Gas Yard Centre where I would work. Massive new digital suite being built as part of the culture programme capital fund that's been made available. But now we have to use the facilities, and that's part of my whole logic, is that if you have people asking the right questions about what courses they should be offering, what type of business startup they should be offering in terms of whether it's film making or sound recording or graphic design, that across the whole town those facilities are used in the right way, and you've actually got economic benefit from them.
One of the good things about what's happening here, though, for the past few days, is ERNACT is welcoming a number of experts from Europe to give their expertise and to have areas on how to improve broadband infrastructure here in the Northwest.
Absolutely key as far as I'm concerned, what I've already mentioned in terms of the super connected city and trying to increase that capacity in the border areas. I mean, that'll be possible, in some sense, maybe with match funding, literally on the border area, running from here maybe on the end of Showen. But for those more peripheral areas of Donegal, the Guido, Dunlows, and right down into the southwest of the county, Glencolmkill in that direction, that's not maybe an option. So we have to look at ways of increasing that capacity, because again, your large scale employer, FDI employer, mightn't consider bringing this business to the areas like that because of a lack of infrastructure, whereas if they have the capacity to have their own business startup, that at least creates employment opportunities, and that's what we want at least as a starting point. And if that can then prove that there is the expertise that exists within the wider county, then hopefully you will in the future attract bigger businesses to invest as well.
You have all these fantastic facilities here in the city.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about the rural areas of Derry?
In terms of the county area, there's a couple of things there. We're in a wee bit of flux at the minute, in the sense that RPA, which is Review of Public Administration, is going to be kicking on the next couple of years, and that'll actually see the Derry City Council linked up with Strabane, but also the councils in general being large, and they'll have more capacity in terms of economic development. That's what we envisage, and as a result of that, there'll be more capacity in terms of developing a lot more connectivity within the rural areas. As far as I'm concerned, what we're doing here in Derry City is just a starting point. We have to look at the same exercise as the people who've been here for the last 2 days have done in Donegal. We have to replicate that in the county. There's no doubt about that. Again, the motorway and the whole plan that we have, and all being well, the funding will eventually kick in for that we'll actually have a motorway between Derry and Belfast, will mean a lot of those rural areas won't be rural in the same way that they're considered now at the minute. And business wise, we are only an hour and a half from Belfast here. Those rural areas are even closer. So as far as we're concerned, they need that connectivity, because there's people here that could be working workstations in their own home instead of commuting up and down to Belfast, and they are an hour's drive away from Belfast if needs be, but we need to create that capacity, and at the minute that's not there. But again, that exercise that's currently being done has to be replicated in the county. There's no doubt about that, and the resources should be made available.